After Cafe, where ideas take shape, thoughts find depth, and every conversation explores the art of thinking beyond the obvious. And today I have my special guest. He's a USA Today best-selling author of marketing and sales books, and no other than Mr. Chris Smith.
What's up, Daniel? Thanks for having me on. I love the intro music.
Welcome, welcome, Mr. Chris. And can you please introduce more about yourself that I miss?
Yeah, yeah. A lot of people, they are New York Times bestseller, Wall Street Journal bestseller, and what a lot of people don't know, unless you're an author, is those bestseller lists are not based on numbers. They're not based on the actual books that sold the most copies. They have an editorial review board that makes the final decision on who makes the list. It's a big controversy. So USA Today, they look at just the numbers, pure data, and really honored to have made that list. Obviously, Amazon bestseller, this and that, but yeah,
Yes.
have had a long career in marketing and sales. I've been featured in all the big publications, Forbes and Fortune. I've started a Inc. 500 fastest growing company. I have worked for two different billionaires. I worked for a startup that got bought by Zillow. So yeah, I love what I do. I'm a marketing, sales, and technology expert in a world where a lot of people claim to be.
Mr. Chris Smith, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. And hoping for more and more empowering books like this to come. So tell us the title promise, Chef, from chasing leads to attracting clients. What is the fundamental mindset change required for a business to make this chef?
Sure. Yeah. So the consumer is more empowered than ever. So if you think about your phone when it rings, now it says spam or it says telemarketer. Or when you go in an app, it says, do you want this app to track you? And you say no. And you go on a website and it says cookies. Do you want to allow cookies? And we say no. So the consumer is being protected more than ever. And so what I've realized is that the best companies that are great at marketing, great at sales, have a great product, instead of trying to figure out tactics and tricks to get people to answer the phone, their phone is ringing.
Mhm.
So that's really what it's about is like what can we do to make our phone ring in a world where outbound calling, cold calling, telemarketing is dying a pretty quick death.
Interesting. Mister, so what is conversion code in a nutshell? Is it a framework, a mindset, or a specific process?
I would say it's a framework and a process. It's a textbook. So I took everything that I've done for my companies and my clients and the organizations that I've worked for, and it's from left to right. So if somehow in 2025, 2026, somebody hasn't done anything online, they're super old school, they don't have a website, they don't have social media, or they have all those things, but they're not using them properly, it's a step by step guide. That's why so many colleges actually use the book in their marketing schools. But to sum up the concept, because everybody knows about lead generation, lead conversion is where the money is made. And so the conversion is a Venn diagram. If you kind of picture three circles overlapping: marketing, sales, tech. And when those three categories overlap and they're all being done really well, that's when you create the highest conversion rate possible.
And tell us, why is traditional approach of chasing leads not only inefficient, but ultimately damaging the modern business.
Well, it sucks for the person chasing too. The consumer doesn't want to get inundated with calls from salespeople, but the salespeople, I've been in the boiler room. I've been the guy that dialed for dollars, pounding the phones, and you have to call 100 people, to get three of them to even answer the phone, and then two of the three tell you to f off and hang up on you. So it's a tough gig. And so the idea would be that, when you're doing outbound sales, you need to be doing inbound marketing. So it's basically taking these concepts of like, I'm not against the phone, I'm not against calling, I'm not against sales, but I would rather call people who have shown an interest in what I do recently. So if I send an email and I say, do you need a sales consultant? Right? Like if that's the subject line, well, the people that open that email have kind of raised their hand a little bit and said, I'm in the market for a sales consultant. So instead of calling 10,000 people that are on my email list, maybe I just call a couple hundred that opened or that clicked. So it's really this dance between digital content marketing as kind of the new school stuff, but then still taking that old school hit the phone conversation, belly to belly approach too.
Mr. Chris, on strategy and methodology, the book covers the full funnel from click to close. What is the most common breakdown point in the funnel where business lose most of their potential clients?
Yes, great question, Daniel. There's two biggest problems. One is that they don't follow up fast enough or enough times. So, we do all this work, we build our brand, and we get a lead, and then we call them the next day, or we call them a week later, or we never call them, or we call them once and they don't answer, so we move on. So, one of the biggest problems that people have, and it's one of the first things they should solve, is speed to lead. You have to call people in less than 5 minutes, and you have to follow up more than 5 times. Think of it as the rule of five: under 5 minutes, at least 5 times. 90% of sales happen after the fifth attempt, but only like 10% of salespeople make a fifth attempt. So that's number one. Number two is companies are not doing marketing that attracts lots of people to their brand. They are trying to use the internet and social media to do sales, to generate leads that are ready to buy from them today. And I get it. That's the most exciting people to talk to. But the other biggest opportunity is the top of the funnel is really an exciting place to be. If you don't have a big, wide top of funnel through things like social, video, podcasts like this, books, like if your top of the funnel is weak, then you're not going to have a good bottom of the funnel. So it would be one, when people are at the bottom of the funnel and they do finally reach out, you have to treat that like gold, follow up quickly, follow up often. And then two, you have to make a concerted effort to attract people at the top of the funnel, not just be idealistic and hope for the layups.
Not only idealistic people, for sure, you emphasize capturing the connecting with leads quickly. What is the strategic importance of a speed in today's attention economy, and what is the acceptable response time?
Yeah. Well, let me tell you, if this is almost like hard to believe, but if you call a lead within 5 minutes compared to calling them within 30 minutes, you have a 21 times more likely conversion rate. If you call a lead between minute one and minute three, you have a 200% more likely chance for them to answer. So you don't have hours or really even minutes, you have seconds. So the best response time possible is as soon as humanly possible. And the other thing would be people really don't value texting as much as they should. Because if you're like me, Daniel, when I get a call and I don't recognize the number, I ignore it. And I hope they don't leave a voicemail. Right. So I teach people something called the double dial. When you call someone and they don't answer, hang up and call again right away. That's going to let them know that it's not a robocall. That's going to let them know that it's a real human being. And then if they don't answer that call, send them a text. Hey, it's Chris. I saw you're interested in uh, ABC. That's why I'm calling. Is now still a good time to chat? So yeah, speed to lead is critical. And the other thing would just be the effort that I mentioned. Like most people don't realize that you should call minute 1, minute 2, minute 30, 1 hour, 90 minutes. Like you should follow up 3 to 5 times on the first day and then 2 or 3 more times on the next day. You really want to front load it, because if you think about like a cliff, every day, every minute that passes is going to be people's, they're not going to remember that they even became a lead, because they're going to have become a lead on 10 other people's websites too.
How does your approach to lead generation differ from traditional methods? And why is attracting the right clients more sustainable than just chasing more leads?
Yeah. I would say my approach is really focusing on a very specific niche and using an ideology that is show me that you know me. And when people watch your videos, when they listen to your podcast, when they read your book, when they reach out, they're a sale, they're not a lead. It's really just about terms and, logistics. So I think the biggest opportunity is using your personal brand to attract people that are like-minded. They always say, "Oh, your vibe is going to attract your tribe." And so a lot of companies, they might have a blog, they might have a website, they might tweet, they might do social media, but they're missing the human being. When people call us and say, "Hey, Chris, I read your book," or "I got your book on Audible," they love me already. So you have to win the business before they reach out. That is the difference. When people reach out to you and you're doing great marketing, they're already sold. When people reach out, or when you talk to people where there's not a lot of great marketing, you have to take it from the top.
Take it from the top for sure, people. And what role does social media and personal brand play in attracting clients versus chasing them? How can a salesperson use it effectively?
I mean, social media is the internet. Like social media is the most, you know, besides some of the stuff now happening with AI, social media is the best invention in the history of marketing, because it allows you to connect with people on a human level. So the way that social media should be used is, not sure if you know Gary Vaynerchuk. Everybody seems to know Gary V. He has a great book called The Thank You Economy. It was one of his first books. And the concept is super simple. If you give people a reason to say thank you, then you're giving them a reason to hire you. I can't tell you how many people have reached out to me that are like, "I don't even know what you sell, but I want to talk to you." Right? Because I'm really coming from contribution. I'm trying to create gratitude with my audience so that they know me, like me, and trust me, kind of Zig Ziglar style.
And Mr. Chris, as a US Today best-selling author, marketing sales expert, what are your short-term and long-term goals?
That's a great question. One of my goals is I want to have 1 million followers on one platform. That's just a
Yes.
personal goal. I right now with all my stuff, I have about 300,000. So I want to have 1 million followers, and I don't buy followers. I don't cheat. I do everything the old fashioned way. Um, I also, want to create as much wealth and money as possible because I am someone that's going to do good with it. Like I would love to have a foundation where I teach, you know, underprivileged youth how to do marketing and sales, how to use AI. Like I want to be so rich that I don't have to ever think about making money because then I can truly wake up and do anything I want to do. I don't know if you know this guy, Eric Thomas. He's a really great motivational speaker.
Hmm.
He said, the American dream is not real if it's not free. And I think because of YouTube, because of television, because of podcasts, because of everything that we have the ability to do, I think that the best teachers and trainers and coaches in the world should not charge for their advice. And I think we're heading there. The people that I follow, they don't charge me to learn from them. Every now and then they might try to sell me a book. Every now and then they might, encourage me to reach out to hire their company. But access to knowledge has become a commodity. And so for me, like my goal is to be as rich as possible so that I never have to like ask money from regular people, kind of like Robin Hood. I want to steal from the rich so I can give to the poor.
Yes, I like that. Mr. Chris, good luck to your goals and hoping we'll be rich as what? Elon Musk?
Well, he's about to be a trillionaire.
A
So,
trillionaire. Oh my
yeah.
gosh. Or Bezos. What either of the two. Come
Yes,
on.
I'll take either one. I'll even take Zuckerberg.
Oh, Zuckerberg.
Yeah.
Yes, for sure. And good luck to your goals. And looking forward for more success. And what will be your piece of advice? A piece of advice for those people out there want to be like you.
Well, it would be that you have to enjoy the process, not the outcome. There's a quote from a company I used to work for. They said, money and numbers follow, they don't lead. So your actions dictate your outcomes. So if you think about basketball, Kobe Bryant, right? If you think about football, Josh Allen, Tom Brady. Tom Brady loved practice. He
Mm-hmm.
loved watching film. He loved sitting around with his coaches and coming up with a game plan. Most people just love the game, the 3 hours on Sunday. But the best people love the build up to that. They love the training, the exercise. Look at LeBron James. He spends $1 million a year on his body. He doesn't just show up and play basketball games every couple days. So I think for me, like you have to enjoy the journey, not just obsess about the destination.
Yes. Enjoy the journey. That was a good advice. Mr. Chris, and can you please recommend a book or books that influenced your journey?
Sure. Great question. Well, I want to give people books that they've never heard of. So I'm going to recommend a book that most people have never heard of, and it's called The Method Method. And the Method is about this soap company called Method, and they're trying to break into the consumer packaged goods world, which is incredibly difficult to do. And they cover 7 specific things they did to stand out in a crowded market. So I loved it. It's a great book, The Method.
Thank you for that recommended book, Mr. Chris. The Method of Method. So, what is
Hmm.
the most dramatic result you've seen or you've seen a business achieve after implementing the conversion code?
Whew. Well, We have seen people, quadruple their income. We've seen people grow their business, 300, 400% in a very short amount of time, because I think everybody agrees that there's a lot of upside to cracking the code. But when you focus on conversion code, when you focus on converting leads, if your conversion rate today is 1%, and I can help you go from 1% to 2%, that doubles your revenue. If you go from 2% to 6%, you triple your revenue. So because everything I'm teaching is so focused on increasing your conversion rate, the results are dramatic. Yeah, they're really big for the people that get it right.
So it will be more successful people if you apply the conversion code. So please read the book. And how does adopting the system change the day-to-day life and stress level of a salesperson or a business owner?
Well, I have to say that when you're talking to people that like you and want to buy stuff from you, and when you're good at sales and you're good at converting leads, it's a lot more fun to do your job.
Yes.
Like, if I have 5 calls a day and 4 of them say yes, that's a good life. I get that dopamine. If I have 10 calls a day and one of them says yes, I'm kind of a failure, right? 90% of the time. So I do think it actually really improves your quality of life. But the thing that I learned, and I actually learned this from a guy named Gary Keller. He wrote a book called The One Thing. It's a very popular book. He owns a huge real estate company. That's the industry that I'm in, called Keller Williams. It's very big. He's a multi-billionaire. And he showed me this drawing that Walt Disney did in 1956. And it's this map of everything he wanted to accomplish and how it all connected to itself. So the movies would get people to listen to the music, and the people that watch the movies and listen to the music, they're going to want to come to the theme park. And when they come to the theme park, they're going to want to buy the merchandise. And by buying the merchandise, they're going to want to see the next movie more. It's this beautiful diagram. And what Gary Keller said is everybody should draw their own version of that Disney map. Because if you think big and you put it down on paper, then all you're doing every day is waking up and making it happen.
Yeah.
You're not waking up and figuring out what you want to happen. So, my advice would be think big. What do you want on your tombstone? What do you want in your eulogy? What do you want to accomplish at the end of your life when you're dying? What do you want to look back and be able to say that you did? And like, I want to win an Oscar, you know?
Mm.
And writing books is teaching me how to write screenplays. Like, it connects. I want to be on television. I want to be on Shark Tank as a shark, not as a contestant. And
As
doing
a joke.
videos and doing YouTube and doing TikToks, that's preparing me for that. So you really want to think big and then figure out how the little stuff you're working on today is basically helping you achieve the big stuff that is a longer term goal.
Yes, people dream big, materialize it, and bring your legacy to the world. And Mr. Chris, before we wrap up our discussion for today, I'm inviting you to please to listen to my other podcast, people. My other podcast, because my abstract essay is already in fifth season, abstract poetry in second season, and my book 101 review in fifth season too. Comedy 101 in second season, and my Food 101 in fifth season as well. Geography 101 in fourth season, and my baby podcast, Law 101 and Mental Health 101. Love Letters in third season, and Movie 101 review and Music 101 in fourth season, and Science 101 and Sex 101 in its first season. Please listen to them wherever you listen your podcast. So, Mr. Chris, finally, if you could leave our audience or viewers with one actionable tip to start attracting clients tomorrow, what would it be?
To execute the advice they've already been getting for the last 5 to 10 years. There's a great quote in my book that innovation is rewarded, but execution is worshiped. People have no excuse. The what to do and how to do it and why to do it and when to do it and where to do it. It's all out there. So I would say that my best piece of advice would be quit consuming so much content and start creating your own content. Take off your I use the internet to look at other people's stuff hat and put on the I'm a YouTuber, I'm a podcaster, I'm a content creator, I'm an influencer, and start creating content because you're not going to be good at it until you actually do it all the time.
Definitely, Mr. Chris Smith, USA Today best-selling author. Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. So, can you please invite our listeners to support your book, your advocacy, or whatever projects that you're doing right now?
Sure. Yeah, the best place to go is theconversioncode.com. It's a beautiful website. You can buy the book, the audio book. You can connect with me on social media. I'm on Twitter and Instagram the most. My account is Chris_SMT8. And I'd love to connect with you guys and say hello. And I want to just say, keep up the great work, Daniel. You're executing, you're creating content, you're putting your opinion out there into the world, and we need more people doing that.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chris. Likewise, create more books that empower people all over the world. Yes, people, let's support Mr. Chris Smith, because if you support him, for sure, more and more empowering advocacy to come, more and more empowering books like this to come. So, Mr. Chris, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, sir.
More to come, people. See you soon.